And we're back. What is going on, dudes? Thank you so much for joining me. We are doing a live stream right now of Three Block Challenge Season 2, number 9. Number 9 on the InfiniteHeights Minecraft server. This is part 2. Part 1, we did plots 1 through 6. We're starting at plot number 7. If you missed part number 1, you're going to have to go back and check it out. I'm sorry, there's not much I can do for you. But we're getting in on plot number 7. We're doing the second half of the builds right now. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're checking us out on the live stream, what is up, dudes? Good to see you. Thank you for joining me. If you are watching us later on YouTube, you should have been there, man. It was awesome. It was so intense. I was sweating. It was so intense, I actually had to stop after the first part, take a drink of water, calm my nerves, and get back. Here we are. We're back into it. So, getting back on to plot number 7, Hawkeye Guardian. Let's see what we got over here. The crystal key resting in its box. Very sweet. Excuse me. So we have like a jewelry box, which is cool. Excuse me. We have a jewelry box kind of a thing, which is cool. We have the crystal key, which looks like it's made out of crystal. Awesome. We have this very cleverly done recessed area that fits the key. When the lid closes on it, you can see it just tucks in nicely right there and fits in perfectly. Very clever. Very well done. It's like one of those little brain teasers on like an IQ test or something like that, or like the SATs or something. It's like, will this fit into this? Yes, it will. This will fit. Very cool. Very cool idea. Very cool idea. Have not seen something like this before, Hawkeye. So what I'm thinking now is, this is definitely awesome. What I'm thinking now is, how could we have increased the difficulty a little bit in the build to score just a couple more points? Because this is solid. Every part of it is solid. Can't complain about any of it. One way to add a little bit of difficulty, and this would make it actually add quite a bit of difficulty, was instead of having the lid for it just be straight and 1 block thick, to have it kind of at an angle maybe, which we've seen some things with lids before at an angle, so it's possible. It's difficult, but it's possible. So that might be cool. But if you didn't want to increase it that much, we could have maybe made the key a little bit smaller. And then you could have slid the lid of the box in a little bit so that you would have enough room in the back to cover up the key indentation with more brown for the lid. So in a way, it's kind of cool, because when the lid's closed, you can actually still see the way you have it here, that there's a key inside the box. So it's a key box, right, for holding the special crystal key. But generally, if things are special, they should be a little bit more secure. So I'm picturing things like just a flat lid, somewhat more nondescript lid, or maybe you could have done some recessing in the lid to expose the blue, so the blue could come out in a different design. Maybe a latch coming off of the middle of some type to close it down here, or maybe some hinges, maybe just little bumps here, some hinges of some kind. Just little things, man, little things. Very cool build, very good idea. The way you came up with that recess thing, kind of closing there, is awesome. Very solid build, dude. Very solid. Crystal key. That's a good use of the stained glass paints too. Crystal, awesome. Good job, man. Good job, Hawkeye. Sweet build. Be careful of what you wish for. We're at plot number 8 with Red Goyo. Red Goyo. Does anybody know how to pronounce that? Anybody help me? Red Goyo. It might come true. So be careful what you wish for. It might come true. Well, I tell you what, if there's there's like a little, there's a way for me to wish for a little blue goblin with a beard, and then I get one. Down. I am down with that. This guy is adorable. Look at that little face. Oh, his little nose. Look at the shape of of his head in the back. That is someone that knows how to make the shape of the back of a head. Very well done. Very well done. This awesome gold collar chain type thing. Very cool. And then just look at the beard. You know I'm digging the beard, right? So, right at the chin there. Very cool. This is great. Very whimsical. Very fun. Those ears are cool. The eyebrows are cool, which I obviously respect these eyebrows. Caterpillars, kissy, right? Whatever. Dead to me. Just kidding. You were never alive to me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. This is cool. He's got little brown teeth. Looks like teeth, top teeth. Man, this is fun. This is a really, really solid build. Really, really solid build. The only thing, this is just a very, very tiny thing that I might think about. Red Goyo, I don't know how to say her name. I'm sorry. Please help if anybody knows. I'm being told it's a djinn. From Aladdin. A djinn. Cool. Doesn't affect how adorable it is. Only tiny thing I would do, and this is just me. If this would have been slid back, you have 2 more blocks to slide it back. If it would have been slid back 2 more blocks, this would have given you a little bit more space to, bam, really nail that beard. Nail that beard. I don't think there's anything actually wrong with the beard. I just obviously am a fan of more beard. And I don't know why everybody else isn't. This is fun. This is a really great build. Red Goyo, Go AO, Go EO, Red Go OEO. Aweo. Awesome build. Awesome build. Thank you so much for entering. Sweet build. Lizzie the Squid, Pac-Man smiley face, look on back. Plot number 9er, obviously Pac-Man. Bonk, 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 right? He's about to eat one of the little food nugs. Little tasty nug. And from here, I can actually see the ghost. The blue ghost on the back. So let's swing around to the back. Boop. There is the back. And it's cool that Pac-Man yellow in the front is the same yellow eyes for the blue ghost. Does anybody know the name of the blue ghost? They all have names. I don't remember any of their names, but they do all have names. If you didn't know, now you know. They do have names. Very cool. Lizzie the Squid, good job. This is a cool build. This is definitely cool. Who doesn't like Pac-Man? I think it's awesome that you saw the yellow and the blue blocks and you were like, oh, Pac-Man and the ghost from Pac-Man. Blue ghost, obviously. That's awesome. That's awesome. What I'm thinking, here's my thing for next time, Lizzie. I'm not sure if this is your first time entering. I think it's your first time entering. It's an awesome build and I'm really glad that you entered. My only comment for this is that, and I know, and this might be a little bit of a challenge, but what if Pac-Man were yellow and actually, like, if you actually made like a 3D round Pac-Man, like a sphere Pac-Man with his mouth open, going for one of the tasty nugs with the blue ghost also in 3D kind of chasing him, and then the background could be like, you know, that awesome wood. Because what I'm thinking is, you know, because we do have the pixel art challenge, which is, I think, where this kind of build would be best, because it's a really good build, Lizzie, but it's flat, and this is a build where we should be doing things in 3 dimensions, okay? And so to have kind of a flat build here, other builds that are working in 3 dimensions will probably score a little higher. Not that there's anything even wrong with this. It's just that there's more points to be had for builds that work and take full advantage of all 3 dimensions. So this build is awesome. Next time we have a pixel art challenge, Lizzie the Squid, you should totally get into it, because this would be awesome there. This would be awesome there for sure. Sweet build, Lizzie. Thanks for entering. I appreciate it. It's a good build. Plot number 10, Killer Aqua. So, Killer Aqua, suspension by Killer Aqua. Specifications: upper lighting on, lower lighting off, 50% lighting, nighttime. Man, you are a needy kid, dude. Alright, let's see. Video settings, brightening, brightness, brighting. Turn up brighting, 50%. Okay. So what I'm doing is, sorry for the long delay of silence. I'm into this, right? What I'm thinking is, this is called suspension. So I'm looking for one of 2 things. One, I'm looking for something literally suspended from another thing, or I'm looking for the implied tension between 2 things. So some type of pulling. Okay, because if you think about suspension, the first idea of suspension that I think comes to mind is a bridge, a suspension bridge, like a cable stay bridge. So like the Golden Gate Bridge, right? So everything is hanging from there, and there's this pulling feeling. What I'm seeing here are shapes that are doing this, which is, to me, more of a catching or a supporting action, which is, in my mind, closer to the opposite of suspension. But there are parts of it that make me feel suspension. Now, what... So in the mall world, the new player mall, right? We have anchors in the ground, and the anchors are connected to these tightening rods, and the tightening rods are connected to chains, and the chains are connected to balloons, and the balloons are floating, and these things are linking the balloons to the island, and that's what keeps the island floating in the sky. And the reason I think that can work is because when we see balloons in the sky, it makes sense to us to understand that they're floating away. If they were let go, balloons will float away. Most, if they're filled with helium, or if they're hot air balloons, like what's implied with our balloons. The abstract nature of what's in the top here does not necessarily imply to me in its design that if it's not held down, it's going to fly away. So there are parts of it where I can see the tension in the idea of suspension and in the pulling of things, right? And I see it in those. I only have 3 showed here, but 4 in these four areas here. These four legs. So what I'm thinking is, actually, this would make more sense as suspension if this were upside down and stuck to the ceiling. And so there would be maybe a space. There would be maybe a space between the top part here, which would then be the bottom part, and the ground. And so then it would look as if it were suspended. It would have a chandelier kind of quality to it, which kind of heightens that. That's just me talking about how the concept fits with what I've been given here. What I've been given here is awesome. The design for this, I am totally digging. I am loving it. It is symmetrical. So I would prefer some asymmetry to it to add a sense of motion. But there is a good amount of motion already implied. But for me, it's all in this upward motion, which kind of just starts to make a cup or like a chalice or a drinking vessel of some type. If it also kind of has this, like, it looks like there's like a, I don't know, it looks like there's some kind of, I just imagine it to be metal, like lacework metal thing that's kind of cool of some type, and there's flames hitting it. And I think that I can't look past the yellow kind of curling up around it beyond flames, and so that looks, again, that just kind of, for me, aids in the sense of pushing instead of pulling, which is what suspension would be. But it's awesome, man. This is such a cool build. This is a very, very cool build. If it were upside down, I think suspension would nail it for this. 10 out of 10 would be cool. This build is awesome, though. This build is awesome, killer. Sweet job, man. Thank you. Very cool. Here we have ZMully Plot 11 Nighttime Sale. ZMully is not a name that is familiar to me, so you must be new, ZMully. And I am glad you are joining us. What's up, dude? Thank you for your entry. And I know the entry's late, but it is still awesome. I appreciate it. So we have nighttime sale. Very cool. Very cool idea. Very simple idea. Executed very well. We have, it's nighttime. And if you don't read the sign, you can see it's nighttime because there's a moon and because there are stars in the sky, and we're given the blue backdrop. And if you've ever been on the ocean at night, you know the edge of the ocean, the horizon, melts into the sky, and it all becomes the same dark color. It's very cool. Very cool. Just these single lights. And I'm going to change my lighting back to moody. There we go. It's very cool. Very, very cool. Just a couple tiny things I might change, ZMully. A couple tiny things I might change. If you're going to use this as the backdrop, okay, and this is awesome. I'm not saying it's not. Just a couple tiny things. Maybe score a couple more points. Get you into that honorable mention zone, which equals cash money. Get money. If you think about it like this, if we made this wall like 2 blocks thick, then you could have some of these. You could have some of these kind of recessed, some of the stars recessed into the wall a little bit, and then if the wall's got a little bit of thickness to it, you could poke a hole in the wall, slap down one of the 5 torches that you got, and now some of the stars are actually casting their own light. Or maybe make the moon itself 2 panes thick, throw a torch behind it, now the moon's lighting up the night sky, which would be awesome, because it looks like you got at least 3 torches. 3 torches left to blow on this, right? And then the last thing, and if you want some ideas on how to detail out a boat, check out Swagnakis. We got a couple boat winners in our Hall of Fame. But one of the things that immediately occurs to me that you could try is just taking one of those half slabs, and instead of making the prow of the ship two of the half slab stick. If you just make it the top half slab, then you have that kind of curved underside of the ship. Solid. Z Mully, welcome to the server, dude. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming out. Thank you for joining the 3 Block Challenge. I'm very glad. Solid first build. Thanks, buddy. So let's move on to, this looks like our last build. Okay, so we have Seaweed takeoff, shown both day and night. A little bird taking off from the ground. Little bird taking off from the ground. Both day and night. Let me switch it to day real quick. I think I like it. I think it's a little bit more interesting at night. What I'm seeing is it's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet. So, couple of difficulty increases. We have the bird in flight, so it's an active object. It's a recognizable object because it's a bird. We know what it is, so we know what to look for, and that means it's easier for us to tell if something's wrong. So that's a little increase in difficulty. Then it's at an angle. It's not straight on, like is the easiest way to build things in Minecraft because it's all cubes. And then the third, fourth, I don't know how many this is. I'm not good with numbers. The last kind of thing of difficulty is that the motion, the specific kind of motion we're trying to depict, is a difficult one to pick. Not only with static objects, but with square objects, and that's flight. That's hard. That is hard. It is difficult to make something that looks capable of flight out of square things that are stationary. If you disagree, I defy you to do it well. Then call me and show me, and I'll give you cool stuff if you do. Don't even try it. Oh, do try. I'm joking. Do try. I hope you come up with something awesome. You will find out how difficult it is to do. So if I jump on the back of the bird. And I know she did this in like 5 or 10 minutes just before. Just before we started recording, maybe a half hour before we started recording. So I think she might have paid attention to more kinds of detail if she had spent more time on it. But, okay, so this is awesome, okay? A couple things that I know if CB spent more time on this, she would get are things like this. She would have, so this looks like dirt, or the ground that it's taking off from. It's brown, it's below the bird, interprets as dirt, okay? It has an interesting texture, so it's not just one flat thing, okay? So if we do take the time to look at it, there's something there for us. Points. What we might have done was maybe, or what we could have done was maybe say, okay, there's a bird flying out of mud, or flying out of a puddle, and then there could have been ripples in the surface, or as the wings are sweeping forward as the bird begins to take off, she could have shown the wind kind of making depressions in it and causing those ripples, which could have been cool. Or maybe if it was mud, maybe some mud on the underside of the bird, which would have helped to round out the bottom of it a little bit, which could have been cool. I feel like from a physiological standpoint, the bird's wings are at the front most position in terms of maximum power for liftoff. And I think when birds are taking off, and they do this, maybe not all birds, I feel like when they have their wings going forward like that, also their tails are pushing down to kind of help. And this tail's kind of curling up. So in terms of physiologically or biologically or kinesiology kind of perspective, it's not maybe 100% accurate, but if that was pointing down, it would make the composition weird. So I think she made a choice to kind of curl it up to make it look cool. Very cool. Very cool. Solid build. Solid build. Siwi. Always good stuff from Siwi. Always good builds from Siwi. But awesome. But so if you're checking this out, if you have entries in the 3 Block Challenge and you're checking this out, you're thinking to yourself, I want to enter the 3BC. I'm afraid to enter because I don't think I'll win. Well, that's silly because it's not just about winning. It's not a bloodthirsty competition. It's a competition that celebrates building and creativity. And so we come together, we make a thing out of it. We do a live stream like we're doing right now. We talk about building, talk about what makes great builds great. And you should always join in that conversation. Don't do it just for prize money. If you just want money, someone will give you money. It's not that hard. Couple things to take away. Okay, if you're looking for tips, okay, increase the difficulty. Ambition and creativity and displaying the unexpected for everyone that's judging, for everyone that's checking out your builds, will always score more points. Even if you fail, the ambition is important, okay? So always go for that. And again, as I said before, trying to depict things in these static blocks that are against the nature of static blocks, like flight, like speed, like falling, like any kind of movement virtually, that's difficult to do. So if you can make that happen successfully, awesome. Rounded things are difficult to do with a bunch of cubes. Adding those kinds of things in will also help increase the difficulty and help you score more points. The blocks are, generally speaking, very heavy and blocky. If you can in some way make some ethereal quality appear in your build, like feathers, like how we chose to do the feathers here with the glass panes, okay? And if we go back and we check out Tropics, Tropics is an even better example of these feathers, okay? And so if I can stop right there, okay, so this is a great angle for you to check this out. So there is an ethereal, feathery quality to this glass, okay? And there are layers and levels, and she made this choice right here, what I'm standing on. She made the choice right there to not keep it flat in line like what was on Seawee's bird, okay? Not knocking Seawee's bird at all. Tropic made the choice to bring that one forward. And so now you can see this line right across here. That line right across there looks darker or more vibrant than if it were this line in here. And there's overlapping. And this creates huge amounts of detail, huge amounts of interest, and this really separates builds. Paying attention to these little details really make great builds, are one of the things that make great builds great. This build is great. In case you were curious, yes, it is. It is great. So I think I'm going to wrap up part 2 right there. Okay, we're going to do part 2. I'm going to come back in 1 second for part 3. Part 3, I'm just going to do some judging. So I'm going to go around. I'm going to place blocks down to show who I think won what. We're going to talk about why I think they deserve those spots. I'm going to agonize over it, which looks like 5, 10, 11, 12. So that is 2 honorable mentions if memory serves. So first through third, 2 honorable mentions. So out of 12 people entering, okay, out of 12 people entering, 5 people win prizes. Your odds of winning something when you join are very good, and so you should always join. Not for the prizes, but for the for the actual experience. But there are other reasons to join too, like prizes. So, so yeah. So I'm gonna be right back with part number 3. Stick around. It won't be long, I promise.